Hi, I'm Dr. Robyn Koslowitz, YouTube's post-traumatic parenting expert. Today we're going to talk about insecure and dismissive attachment and how we can accidentally create it in our kids. Have you ever asked yourself, how can I give my kids a normal childhood? Mine was anything but. Or maybe you're thinking, I'm so depleted from recent traumas in my life. I have no psychological resources left for my kids. What's that going to do to them? Will my damage them? If you've had these thoughts, welcome. This is the post-traumatic parenting community where we explore how to parent after trauma. If you like this kind of content, please click subscribe below so you never miss another video. So today I want to talk about attachment and one of the fundamental ways it works and how we can sometimes accidentally mess up our kids' attachment. So Payne Bryson, in a fantastic book with Dan Siegel, writes about a very fundamental concept of parenting, which is if you want to be the safe harbor for your child, you cannot also be the storm, right? Meaning that parents should be the safe harbor. In attachment theory, we talk about a safe haven that parents provide for their kids, where when the child is scared, they run to mom or dad, right? Somebody's mean to them. They come home and they tell their parent. They fall down and they cry and mom picks them up and says, oh, you have a boo-boo, and helps make it better, right? That's one of the three essential functions of the attachment system, right? A parent stays close by, right? That's called proximity maintenance. A parent is a safe haven. They're who the child returns to when something scary happens, and they're a secure base. They're that base, that nest out of which the child ventures forth to explore the world, right? That's the job of the parent. But that safe haven function is something we don't always pay enough attention to. So if the child is scared, if the child's frightened, who do they go to for comfort and support? One of the saddest things I witnessed when I was doing my predoctoral internship and when I was working with children who had experienced abuse and neglect was the way children who had been abused or neglected still were crying for and begging for their parents. One of the kids I worked with while I was in training that always stayed with me was a little girl whose mom, this is a trigger warning, I'm about to discuss some pretty severe child abuse. So if that's not something you need in your headspace today, please save this video, archive it, delete it, just don't engage in it. But for those of you who want to hear what I'm talking about, and for those of you who feel like you want to explore this topic, so this was a little girl whose mom had gotten very angry because she was being whiny and clingy and demanding. So mom poured some gasoline over her and lit a match. And the little girl was burned very badly over a lot of her body and was sent to the hospital. And eventually she became a patient of mine, and I was learning how to work with very traumatized children. This little girl would beg and cry and scream for her mama, like she wanted her mother, because our brain wants our attachment figure, right? But we have to know that the attachment to the mother was very altered now. And one of my jobs in working with them was helping them repair attachment. I will say that working with that dyad, as we called it, that mother and child, was very harrowing for me. And I needed to engage in a lot of self-care before I went home to my own kids, because it was such a painful thing to witness. And I had to deal with my own feelings and emotions, and I had to really unpack them in my own supervision and in my own therapy to really be able to do this. So when I was working with that child, it struck me at how strong the attachment system is. But in that case, if we want to be the safe haven, cannot be the storm. If you think of this clip from Monsters, Inc., right, Boo has kind of latched on to Sully, and as scary as Sully can be because he's a monster under the bed, he is also her attachment figure, right? She loves him. When she falls down and hurts herself, she runs to Sully to be picked up. When she's scared by Randall, Sully is the one who comforts her and makes her feel better. So Sully is used to being Boo's attachment figure. But then Boo sees Sully's other side. She sees the monster emerge and he's roaring and he's so scary. And Boo runs away, right? Because if you want to be the safe harbor, you can't also be the storm. Boo was just really scared of Sully. She was terrified. He was the epitome of every child's fear, that scary, terrifying monster yelling. His face is distorted. He's so loud and overwhelming. It's too big. It's too much. It's too loud. It's traumatic, right? And that's what a trauma is, right? Too big, too much, too loud. I can't process it. So Boo can't process it and she runs away. Whenever you think about our worst parenting moments, when we want to yell at a kid, shame a kid, blame a kid, slap a kid, any of those moments, when we're feeling like internally like we're Sully and we're like that angry monster that wants to come out of us, that mom rage, that dad rage that wants to come out, I want you to picture this scene. Picture Sully and picture Boo cowering away from him in fear and running away, right? Picture that. And remember that if you want to be the safe haven, you can't also be the storm. Which would you rather be in your child's life? Would you rather be the safe haven or would you rather be the storm? Because there are a lot of parents who, in the name of respect, obedience, well-behaved children, think that they're being the safe haven when they're actually being the storm. And what the child does in that situation is they cower and they shut down. So they're well behaved because they're not behaved. They're in freeze mode and they're not behaving, or they're behaving as little as possible because their nervous system is so dysregulated right now that they're as quiet as a mouse, right? Because they're terrified. And there are parents who will tell you that's good parenting. There are parents who will tell you, yeah, my kids knew what to expect from me. Yes, it's true. Children need to know what to expect from their parents. Predictability is a very important indicator of good attachment, right? If you're a predictable parent, your child is likely to grow up with secure attachment. But if you're predictably the monster under the bed, that's not what we mean when we say a parent should be predictable. A parent should not be predictably enraged. A parent should not predictably be the trauma, right? We shouldn't have to go into trauma therapy for our relationships in our family, right? That's not being the safe haven. That's being the storm. And then if we are the storm rather than the safe haven, we shouldn't be surprised when our child wants an umbrella and a raincoat and maybe wants to go indoors and close the door and leave the storm outside, right? Because either we're the safe haven or we're the storm. So what happens if we get mad? We sometimes get mad. Mom rage is a real thing and it does affect post-traumatic parents sometimes, especially when we're trying to parent so perfectly, right? So what do? We take responsibility for it. We repair. We apologize. What did Sully do in Monsters, Inc., right? He ran after Boo. He comforted her. Eventually, he was able to be an attachment figure again, but it didn't happen right away. He needed to repair. So yeah, we take responsibility. I yelled. That was scary. You didn't like it. I did not mean to scare you. I'm sorry. Next time, this is what I'm going to try to do. Not next time, this is what you need to do. If you would clean up your toys, I wouldn't have to yell. No. Next time, I'm going to take my deep breaths. Next time, I'm going to wait. Next time, I'm going to discuss it with you afterwards when everything calms down. Whatever you're going to do, right? I'm going to repair with that child and restore myself in their brain as the safe haven and not as the storm. And if that mom rage, if that dad rage is coming up too often and it's like, I can't control it, I'm trying to, as much as I try to, we want to think about two things. The first thing we want to think about is the fact that humans are biological creatures. So if you're habitually engaging in mom rage, in dad rage, in those meltdowns, and those yelling things, you might want to take a look at your daily schedule. Like, are you going straight from work into parenting without restoring your blood sugar first? Because sometimes an apple on the way home, like just having a snack, restores our blood sugar enough that we can parent the way we want to. Because without blood sugar, we don't have much self-control. Maybe you're cramming too much into your day because you're a post-traumatic parent and you need to be productive, perfect, work, because your survival mode of your brain is telling you to do that. I'm going to link to a post-traumatic parenting video I did a while ago on our trauma app and how it overrides our parenting functions if you haven't seen that yet, or if you need a refresher. So if that's what's happening and you're aware of that pattern, that's when it's time to go into therapy, right? That's when it's time to say, oh, my trauma is traumatizing my kids. I do not want to be the storm. I want to be the safe haven. So I am going to deal with my stuff. So my emotional baggage doesn't become their burden to carry. It's not my fault that I'm a post-traumatic parent. That is circumstances outside of my control. Nobody volunteers to be traumatized. It's not my fault. It is my responsibility, because as the adult in the room, I need to take responsibility for this. And whether that's leaving work an hour early, and I get that that's sometimes an aspect of privilege and not all of us can do that, whether that's not taking on stressful responsibilities at work in the last hour of the day, whether that's restoring blood sugar, drinking, hydrating on the way home, giving yourself a chance to take a break for 10 minutes before you go and pick up your kids, whether that's making sure to use the bathroom before your kids get home, whatever you need to restore your body, or whatever you need to restore your brain. I need to do my therapy. I need to do my meditation practices, my journaling. I need to keep up with friends, do some self-care that involves joy experiences in my life. Whatever the things I need to do, because I either need to restore my body or I need to restore my brain. Maybe I need to do some exercise when I come home. That would be restoring my body. Maybe I need to vent to my friend about my mean, cruel, horrible, toxic boss before my kids come home, and that stress builds up inside of me and it turns into me yelling at my kids. I need to take care of brain and body so that I can be a parent to these children, because I don't want to be the storm. And I keep that image of Sully. I actually have a Monsters Inc. mug in my kitchen that just looks like a cute mug. But actually, when I see that image of Sully, it reminds me, I can't be the safe harbor if I'm also the storm. So if you're a post-traumatic parent and this speaks to you, please let me know what you think in the comments below. Are there any other scenes from cartoons or from movies that you think illustrate this principle, or any other important principle in parenting? Please comment that below. And if you like this video, please comment, like, save, and share. And please subscribe to the Post-Traumatic Parenting YouTube channel. You can also find us on Instagram, and on Facebook. That's where the post-traumatic parent community hangs out. If you want to ask me direct questions, the post-traumatic parenting community has a subscription where you can ask questions. We made it super affordable. It's 99 cents a month, just so that cost should not be a barrier for anybody for joining. The book is due out soon, and we also have the Post-Traumatic Parenting podcast available wherever you get your podcasts. Until next time.